Oh, really quick. So,
and we're live.
oh, I think we're live. What up, leaguers? Welcome to the spectacular spoiler. We're gonna do that again. What up, leaguers? Welcome to the spectacular spoiler league. I'm the Pandan Superman, the mayor of Hype City, HazyRome, and as always, I'm joined by the god of Nat, the Prime Minister of Post-Production, DeepBoyce, and today we're here to talk about Arrowverse Week 6, baby. So, a couple of things before we get started. A couple of housekeeping items before we get started. Number one, we were thinking that One's Gotta Go weekly doesn't really speak for the name of this new live show that we're doing, because we kind of inserted the power rankings and the Bumasses rankings last week. So me and DeepBoyce decided that we're gonna call this new live show the Arrowverse Weekly One Shot. So that's what you can call it from now on. Number two, next week is Thanksgiving. Thursday's Thanksgiving. We usually do these live streams on Thursday. Unfortunately, it's Thanksgiving, and that's also very fortunate because it's Thanksgiving. So instead of doing a live show on Thursday, we're actually going to be doing a live show on Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you watch these as videos, you don't watch these as live streams, no worries, you're good. As far as the week after next, the week of the crossover. So as you guys should know by now, the first two shows will be Supergirl and Arrow on Monday, I believe it's the 27th, and Tuesday, the 28th, will be Legends of Tomorrow and The Flash. So we're still working out what we're going to do, but there'll definitely be a live stream after the crossover ends on that Tuesday. So it won't be Thursday that week, at least for the weekly one shot, the Arrowverse weekly one shot. It will be on Tuesday. Whether or not we do something on Monday is still up in the air, but we'll let you guys know when the time comes. The best way to find out, turn on notifications. That being said, if you like anything you're about to hear in this video, please feel free to hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications as I just said, and drop us a like if you like what we're talking about. Housekeeping out the way, DeepBoyce. It's time for the power rankings, baby.
Oh yeah, week 6.
It's gonna be lit.
In the books.
I'm ready for this. I got my phone here. I'm ready.
Let's get right into it. I have my Word doc opening because I'm always taking these notes.
Okay.
So I guess we're gonna get started with the power rankings. I see you guys. What up, everybody in chat? Everybody watching after the fact. I guess let's start with number 5 then. Let's get right into it,
man. What's your number 5?
Number 5, we were talking about how, when these shows, particularly Arrow, when it drops, it kind of throws us into a funk because Arrow's been so good. We had to scramble last minute. We only have like 15 minutes to get us all set up and get our thoughts collected. But I think I'm pretty set on my 5th spot in week 6 power ranking, and I'm gonna give it to your boy Richard Dragon.
Okay, that's a good pick. That's a solid pick.
It's a solid pick. Obviously, the man, in terms of what he actually did, he didn't, move the world, didn't shatter the world. But, we've been kind of anticipating the arrival of this character. And I think, the characterization that Kirk Acevedo, who's the actor, gave us, I like what he was giving us there. I'm excited to see more of this Richard Dragon character. And hopefully he'll be more than a run-of-the-mill thug who deals drugs or whatever it is, runs a crime syndicate. Obviously, he's one of the most skilled combatants in the DC universe. So we'll be excited. I'll be excited to see that. We'll be excited. You'll be excited. I hope we're all going to be excited to see this. So I'm going to put him at the number 5 spot because
that's a good spot.
Yeah,
that's a good spot for him. That's a solid spot for him. I liked his initial appearance. I mean, there wasn't anything that blew my mind, like you said. But I don't know. I like the way he talked. I know it's weird to say that, but I felt like he had some sort of intimidation about him, and he also had sort of a mystique with the way he talked. So I mean, I can agree that he sounded pretty. He seemed pretty intimidating. You know what I'm saying? He's probably going to be teaming up with Kaden James and Black Siren as the season wears on. I'm looking forward to that. But my number 5. My number 5, everybody, is the whole damn island of Themyscira.
Oh, that's a good one.
How are we not going to shout out Legends of Tomorrow for that Themyscira Easter egg, man? Without getting into the crazy details, because if you're watching this, you presumably watched the episodes of the Arrowverse this week, week 6. But I mean, they had this, Helen of Troy storyline, and Helen of Troy, she kind of had this thing where she didn't want to go back to Troy because men were just fighting over her. If you know the story of Troy, it's some sort of what's the word for it? I guess it's a myth. You know what I mean? It's Greek mythology. So, yeah, Greek tragedy. So basically a bunch of dudes are fighting over Helen, and the whole war breaks out, lasts for 10 years. But Helen doesn't like, people fighting over her, men fighting over her. She's sick and tired of it.
No, she wants women to fight over her.
So, your girl Zari decides, let me drop her off in a place where she won't have to worry about men. She drops her off in Themyscira, man. Like, that Easter egg threw everybody for a loop. I know if you were watching that, you were like, what? So shout outs to Themyscira, shout outs to Wonder Woman, shout outs to everybody on the damn island coming at number 5. That's a big Easter egg. That's a big Easter egg. We just got Batman as a reference a couple weeks ago, and now we've got Themyscira. That's huge. That's huge, man.
Did you notice the little island that she dropped her off on? There was like no way to get out.
What about it? What'd you say?
There was like no way to get out. There's a little beach and a whole big cliff. I'm like, where is she gonna go?
I did notice that there was like a circle of mountains around there, and I was like, how's she gonna get around? But it doesn't matter, okay? I mean, Wonder Woman could surely jump over the mountain if she was. Well, she may not be there though. So, damn. Maybe Helen and Troy might be fishing for a while to get some food. I don't know. But that's my number 5. DeepBoyce, hit us with number 4, man.
My number 4 pick in my power rankings for week 6 is another minor character, Wells the Gray from The Flash. Listen, I had some problems.
I should have known you love the Lord of the Rings, man. I should have known, Lord of the Rings fan.
And that little sort of,
you're number 1 on my bum ass list this week. Man. Get out of here.
That little cross reference, I really appreciated that as a Lord of the Rings fan. Now, the segment we'll probably get into later. I wasn't a big fan of the segment and a couple of things most of the episode, but we'll get into that later. But Wells the Gray. Okay. The other Welleses, they weren't doing it for me, but that quick just kind of pop up of the crazy old dude. That actually came out of nowhere, and it saved that scene for me.
Okay. All right, if you say so. I'm not going to touch that one, D-Boy. I'm not going to touch it, because like you said, we're definitely going to touch on that later.
I'm just saying, if the Flash, probably the best ally he could ever have is Wells the Gray right there. They're missing out.
He's not actually Gandalf, or so. It's not like he's Gandalf. Your man is probably cosplaying or something.
Oh, damn.
You didn't think of that, did you? You would think he was actually a wizard.
It could just be a cosplaying Harrison Wells from another Earth. You're right.
There you go, man.
But what if it's a wizard?
Well, if it's a wizard, well, I'll be damned. That's a good choice. But I don't think he is. Seeing as they were just like, yo, we're getting rid of you. I mean, super powerful Wells. Why would they keep him around if he was actually a wizard, man? That doesn't make any sense. But on to my number 4. Okay, before I get to number 4, I want to mention something someone said in the chat. Antonio Lagunas actually brought up an interesting, cool point about my number 5, which is Themyscira and Helen Troy getting dropped off there. And he said, what if Helen of Troy was a reference to Donna Troy? If you don't know who Donna Troy is, she's actually Wonder Girl. She's actually someone from Themyscira, and she's essentially Wonder Woman's protege, so to speak. That's actually pretty interesting. Like, what if Donna Troy is just a spin on Helen Troy? I don't know. That would be pretty cool.
Or she could be a descendant of Helen of Troy.
Indeed. I mean, she does look a little different because Donna Troy tends to have black hair. Donna Troy looks a lot like Wonder Woman, black hair and stuff like that. But hey, you never know. But my number 4, all right, I'm gonna pull up my list here on my phone. Okay. My number 4 this week is Firestorm, Stein, and Jax pulling their Freaky Friday hijinks this week. Like, honestly, though, I expected that to be, when I saw that on Legends this week, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be so dumb. I was like, this is gonna be so dumb, so unfunny, so like corny. And I gotta say, man, Victor Garber as like playing Jax was hilarious, man. Like, he legit, like, to me, I was like, yo, he legit sounds like Jax. And shout outs to Franz Drama, if I'm pronouncing that right, who plays Jax on the show. He was awesome playing Stein. So like, they were really good at playing each other. And I was just like, yo, this is mad. I was cracking up at certain parts, man. Firestein as Isaiah Adams called it. Firestein, I like that. But it was pretty good, right? What do you think? What do you think about it?
I thought it was hilarious. That was probably the best part of the episode for me. And honestly, not to jump the gun here, but my number 3 is actually Jax playing Dr. Stein.
Okay.
Like I said,
that's what's up.
It was the way he was talking, like his intonation, and the way he would speak. It was cracking me up every time he would do it. And like you said, Victor Garber also did a pretty good job as well. Yeah, it was in particular, like it was like you said, it was like the tone, like the way they were speaking, like while they were playing the other person. Like, I honestly,
like in my mind's eye, I was like, that's Stein in Jax's body, and this is Jax, and this is Jax and Stein's body. If I said that right.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was hilarious, dude. I thought it was really funny, and like, I mean, just like when Stein was like, "Damn, I look good." Like, I swear to God, it was like Jax.
Yeah, there was
speaking out of his mouth, man.
There was one scene during the party in the middle of the episode where a fight broke out, and then Jax asked Stein, flipped out of nowhere. He was like, "Unhand the lady." I had to clip it. I was cracking up. Don't be surprised if I used it as a sound effect at some point in time. It was.
I would crack up if you used that as a sound effect, man. That would be fantastic, man. But since you brought up your number 3, since we did that simultaneously, I'll bring up my number 3. And this is somebody who actually made my list last week. It's Ralph Dibny, man. Like, honestly, he's a breath of fresh air on the Flash, man. Like, I know he's swarmy, and I know he's a scumbag, but it's just something about his scumbaggery. It's just like this may be a stretch because I know this person is like a comedic legend, but he kind of reminds me of like a young Jim Carrey in the way he acts, and I think the actor who plays Ralph Dibny is fantastic, man. Yes. I can't wait to see him be Elongated Man. Like and him calling out like the bust sizes of women and stuff. I was just like. This dude is too much, man. I was cracking up. I couldn't help but laugh. But and then him kind of discovering, subsequently that, his journey to being a hero is just getting started. And him actually learning, I feel like sometimes characters take too long to learn from the things they're experiencing in the Arrowverse, especially in the Arrowverse. Mm-hmm. But he did a great job. Man. That's my number 3. That's my number 3.
No doubt.
It's good.
Yeah, no,
Did you like him? I feel like you got some things to say about Ralph.
We'll keep going with the list. I know when we get to the Bumasses, you're gonna talk about my man Ralph. That's good. I don't know about that.
I'm ready for you, dog. All right, we going at it, man. Go ahead, hit me with your number 2, man.
Number 2 on my power rankings list for week 6 is actually a young Kara Danvers.
Oh wow, that's a good. I clap that up for you. Bravo.
Young Kara Danvers, upstanding, doing what's right at a young age. It was actually a rather decent episode. I was really interested, and it kind of made me want to maybe see a few more episodes, during this period of their lives. And honestly, the young actress that was playing Kara Danvers, I think she did a phenomenal job, and I thought it was a really interesting episode, which we'll probably get into later, but.
Yeah, honestly, I think both Kara and Alex Danvers, as young actresses, did a tremendous job playing both of those characters, and it didn't take me out of the story. Sometimes you see like a younger portrayal of characters. I'll give y'all a good example. Y'all remember a flashback a long time ago on Arrow where young Oliver Queen's, it was young Oliver Queen and young Tommy, and Tommy's mom had just died. And the way those kids were interacting, I was like, please get past these flashbacks, man. Like, I ain't trying to pick on no kids, man, but that was some horrible, horrible script writing right there and acting. You know what I'm saying? I'm just putting that out there. Yeah. But I mean, shout outs to Supergirl, as you say that, for shouting out Smallville, man, and acknowledging Chloe Sullivan's existence for Smallville. Now, I want to say something. I'm gonna pour a little water on some people, right? There are a lot of people that are saying like,
"Chill,
yo, Smallville confirmed to be a prequel to the Arrowverse." I'm like, y'all taking this out of proportion, okay?
This is impossible.
First of all, it doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Yeah. For it to be like a complete tie-in. It is a reference to Smallville, and yes, they're confirming that on Earth 38, Supergirl's Earth, some elements of Smallville actually happened on that Earth. Some elements. But if you watch Smallville, there's clearly a Supergirl in that show, and Clark Kent had met her when she was like a full adult, which fully contradicts the origin of the main character of Supergirl. So it's not a complete 100% tie-in, but as we already knew, Smallville is in the multiverse, and it's possible that on another Earth, let's say, making up a number here, it's not anything confirmed. Let's say on Earth 34, maybe the events of Smallville did happen, and you know, some similar events happened in Supergirl's Earth 38, but it didn't play out exactly the same way. But cool Easter egg nonetheless. I was pretty hyped about all those Smallville shout outs and whatnot, and I just thought it was, you know, Chloe Sullivan was one of the best parts of Smallville in the later years. In the early years, not so much, but you know, she was pretty good. She was like the prototypical Felicity of that show, essentially. But I mean, she even became like sort of the Overwatch of that show, except her name was Watchtower. So, but anyway, pretty cool stuff, man. But my number two, and this person deserves to be a bum ass for how he's been acting the past couple weeks. But I'm putting him at number 2 for his 100% accountability this week, and that is John Diggle. Okay,
okay.
John Diggle, because listen. Man's been, you know, he's been coked out, man. He's been worse than Thea on her worst day with all the steroid drug use and hiding things. Yeah. But Diggle, he didn't wait till, you know, everything turned to complete shite. Okay, he realized, yeah, he wasn't gonna get any more drugs, and that probably would have never, if he would have never fessed up if that didn't happen. But he was like, you know what? I'm gonna tell my wife first, because the wife is the person that I've been lying to the worst.
That he forgot about.
I'm gonna go to my. That's a good point, because when he walked into the house and she was like, "Hey, Johnny," he was like,
"What the heck?"
He was deep in thought, but his apology was probably one of the best apologies for doing some stupid shite in the Arrowverse that I've seen in a long time. He gave everyone individually like their own apology that applied to them, and he was accountable. And I like the fact that they also acknowledged that, yo, John Diggle, freaking Mr. Terrific, is right there. He just helps. He helped a woman learn how to walk again, like a couple seasons ago, man. I mean, or 2 seasons ago. Like, come on, man. He can fix you. He can help fix you. So, you know, some people hating on Diggle in the chat. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, yo,
not chill.
That's Diggle. That's Diggle. That's Diggle. Not my bum ass. Not today. You know what I'm saying?
Not today.
DeepBoyce.
Yes.
Time for numero uno.
Number 1.
It's serious business right now.
It's actually one of the ones you mentioned on your list. My number 1 is actually going to be Ralph Dibny.
Wow. Yeah, okay.
It's gonna be my number 1 for a lot of the reasons that you said. He was the only good thing about that episode. And he continues to, again, just be really good in this role, in the spot that he fits in, which I think says a lot in a lot of these different shows where there are too many characters, or there are characters that are just there and they don't have anything to do, and they have Ralph Dibny here, and he makes the most, or they have him make the most of what they give him. And I think
Flash has kind of had that problem with too many characters, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
I mean, look, where's Kid Flash right now? He gone. Nobody. Barely anybody missing him right now. I don't miss Kid Flash. I'm sorry. I want to like Kid Flash, but I don't miss him as it stands.
It sucks. It sucks that in a way Ralph Dibny's the replacement, but he
fits a little bit better.
He's better.
Yeah,
he's better. He's more.
He's already got more charisma than Wally's had on his best charismatic day.
Yeah, and
hate to say it.
Like you say, he's charismatic. He's funny. What they're doing with him is interesting. I don't know exactly where they're gonna go with this, but I mean, I think they're gonna introduce Sue Dibny at some point. So we'll see how that works out. His wife.
Yeah, the showrunners did confirm that Sue Dibny is sort of like a later development for Ralph, because if you're familiar with the comics, like Ralph and Sue, they're pretty much like their bond is almost unbreakable. I mean, obviously it's comics. There's been storylines where crazy stuff has happened, but their relationship is so like it's to the point where when Elongated Man goes to like Justice League meetings, like he'll bring his wife with him. Yeah. Like that's how tight those two are. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? My man's like, y'all bring me, like, you don't see Superman like, yo, Lois, you want to head to the Watchtower, Lois, so you got a meeting. Like, you don't see that happening with anybody else. But he's like, I got to bring my wife in because what I do, she does. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. And what she does, I do. Yeah. So that's pretty dope. But that's a good number 1, man. I can't hate on that. Yeah. The only reason why he's not my number 1 is simply because the impact of my number 1 tied at number 1. Slade and Son, man.
Slade and Son.
Slade and Son, yo. It's gonna be the carpenter company, Slade and Son, man. They chop up woods. They chop up pieces of wood with their swords, man. They build houses with their swords. They just chop up, 2x4s and whatnot. I mean, Slade. First of all, let me just say, sometimes with villains, sometimes you don't know what their reasoning is, but then it turns out to be something compelling. Sometimes it turns out to be terrible. And the Arrowverse, more often than not, their reasoning is just kind of like, what? You know what I mean? And I'm talking about like villains of the week, not necessarily overarching villains. But I kind of felt for Joe Wilson when he was like, yo, the first time I saw you kill, I wanted to be like you. Because this kid, you could tell from the minute you meet him in those flashbacks in the previous episode, that this kid really wants to just make his father proud. And then when you find out like he had his first kill 6 months after that camping trip takes place, like he was like a kid when that happened. And you could see that this kid was broken from a long time ago. And I just felt that was interesting, from his point of view. And the fact that, he saw his father under the Mirakuru kill again, I think sort of reinforced that in his mind as an adult. And he's like, yo, I'm just going to do what I feel like I want to do, what I feel needs to be done. As for Slade being the number one, I mean, I don't think there's anybody in the Arrowverse that plays a tortured soul as well as Manu Bennett as Slade Wilson. Yeah. Case freaking closed, man. And also, the flashbacks, this season, or this episode, I should say, actually helps make season 2 better. Because you kind of see the Mirakuru sort of like coming in and out of focus in his body. And eventually it ultimately, takes control. And that's when he decides to go after Oliver Queen. So as dope as Arrow season 2 was, like showing these Slade flashbacks actually made season 2 seem kind of doper, man.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
I'm hyped for that, man.
And I mean,
I'm hyped for that.
What a way to go out with him walking away, disappearing into the mist.
Yeah, that was a good image, man. As Elijah Colbert said in the chat, I can't wait to see Grant Wilson again. You know what I'm saying? Because Grant Wilson was confirmed today. And, I'm hyped for that, man. I'm super hyped for that, man. Yeah. I'm super hyped for that, man. Shout outs to the owl in the chat right there. He's over there just watching us with his eyes, man, wide in the chat. I see you, the owl. But, yo, it's time to hit them with some bum asses.
I don't think they want this time.
It's time to get, it's time to get reckless. Okay.
I don't think they want.
I'll tell you how bad my bum ass list was this week. I know we only got a top 3, but I legit got at least 5 written here. At least 5.
Yeah,
and that was me being conservative.
Yeah, I got more than 3. I'm gonna have to rearrange them like right now on the spot. They're not gonna be as impactful. I don't think none of these are really any main characters. Like this week, I just kind of threw out some nice little side characters, Easter eggs that kind of made me crack up, or I thought just deserve a special little shout out because we're not gonna see them again. So
okay.
Number 3, my top 3 bum asses for week 6. I'm going with Josie from the Supergirl episode.
Josie.
That was the girl that was sleeping with the professor. And she was the worst. The worst.
DeepBoyce. My number 3 is Mr. Bernard, bro. Yeah. We are in sync. It's like we're sharing a mind, bro. It's like the whole of spoilers has connected us telepathically.
We got this hive mind going here, man. Oh, we got that Martian Manhunter psychic link going on right now.
Freaking Mr. Bernard, man, and Josie. I'm like,
Josie,
what is you doing?
Such an ass.
Yeah, she was being mean. She was being mean, man.
I mean, being a jerk to this kid Kenny, being part of that group. Warping Alex Danvers, and then just rip Kenny. However, caveat, I know that he's supposed to be a sympathetic figure, but man was straight up out there peeping Tom. He was snooping at people.
He was peeping Tom. But
with a telescope, not a camera, with a telescope.
But look, that is some bum-assery right there, actually. But that's actually sort of an Easter egg to the early days of Smallville, because Clark Kent used to have a telescope, and he actually used to spy on Lana Lang with said telescope.
Yo, Clark Kent.
And he was saying, I think he even said, yeah, I know that's some bum-assery. But I think he even said at one point, just like Kenny says, "Oh, you have no idea what this telescope sees,
yeah,
or something along those lines." And Clark actually said something along those lines in an episode of Smallville. So I think it was supposed to be sort of a Smallville Easter egg. That being said, Kenny over here peeping Tom, man, and. Yeah. I can't be the only one that wanted one of them to say, "Oh my God, they killed Kenny." You bastards! Like I wanted some South Park reference, man.
They did in the episode.
They didn't say you bastards though.
They didn't say you bastards.
They killed Kenny.
One of the
but
jocks.
they didn't say they killed Kenny. They said they killed Kenny. It wasn't the same.
Fair enough.
Come on, DeepBoyce.
Fair enough.
You know this. What'd you say?
Fair enough. Fair enough.
It didn't have the oomph that I wanted shouting out South Park. That's all I'm saying.
I just also
That's all I'm saying.
I felt kind of bad for laughing when they kind of pulled up the tarp and they showed Kenny laying out, and I was like, damn. They did this guy dirty.
Yeah, you messed up.
They did him dirty. I didn't expect him to go that far, but I liked that episode. Anyway.
Yeah, that was a good episode. So, but I guess it's time for my number 3. Yeah. Oh, I already said Mr. Bernard, so we're on to number 2.
Yeah, get him out of here. Get him out of here for that.
This guy's over here sleeping with kids in school, bro. Nah, get your pedophiliac ass out of here, bro. Get out, Mr. Bernard. Shut the door. We throwing you out into space, out of the Hall of Spoilers, man. Get out. Number 2, DeepBoyce, what you got?
Number 2 is, listen, this character, I didn't think anyone could top the bumassery of Cyborg Superman. Cyborg Superman had one of the worst costumes in the Arrowverse, but Wasteland Wells, my man with that Nikon camera telescope thing on his eye, yo, he was a straight up bum ass. Get that guy out of here. I could not take him serious. With his terrible Australian accent, my man had like a random ass like turkey baster coming out his neck. Like, what was that?
My man has some putty on his face, bro. And he just stuck a camera in there like Flash was like, yo, we don't even care about our budget. My man had some dry doo-doo plastered on his face, bro. And he stuck a camera, eyelens in there. I was like, bro, when I saw that, I was like, this is garbage. Like, they couldn't even wrap his arm in some foil to make it look like he had like a metal arm or something. Put some wiring on his chest or something. Like, that was, I mean, I know it was meant to be comical, but damn, that was bad.
My man's Party City game was on point. Yeah.
Speaking of him, DeepBoyce.
Yes.
He's on my list, but I'm not going to tell you where he's on my list or how he's on my list. Okay, but I'm going to go on to number 2. Okay, say brace yourself. Okay.
All right, hold on. Let me take this sip of water. I don't want to spill this all over the place.
Yeah, do what you got to do, man. My number 2. Okay, my number 2 is Elongated Man's proto suit. Listen, y'all. I know this is meant to. I know it's meant to be funny. Okay. But my man is walking around in a big-ass surgical glove, y'all. Come on, son. Come on, son. That was horrible. That suit. I know it was meant to, I know that was intentional. But my man just looked ridiculous in that onesie, bro. I just couldn't. He looked like a Power Ranger villain or something. Like, it was just... it was atrocious, man. It just... I mean, him cutting on his saying, like, when it was, like, in a small form, he was like, what is this, a puppy's raincoat? I was just like, I don't know if you guys ever did, like, he looked like he was wearing, I was going to say, I don't know if you guys ever done physical therapy, but you guys can look this up. My man looked like a big-ass, like, resistance band. Like, if you ever did, like, exercise with, like, a resistance band, he looked like a big-ass resistance band. Horrible, dog. Horrible, man.
Yeah,
horrible, man.
This is probably before the kid's time, but he reminded me of Blank Man. He was just missing like a sweater tied around his neck.
Blank Man was a funny movie. That was a dumb movie, man. That was funny, man. But anyway, man, what you got for number 2?
Oh, number 1? I already gave my number 2.
Or number 1. What are we at? What are you on? What I think it's number 2 for you, right?
Number 2 is Wasteland Wells.
Ah, yes. Number 1 then. Number 1, numero uno.
My number 1 bum ass. I don't know this guy's name.
Yeah.
But it was the crook at the beginning of the episode. The one that tried to stick up Barry and the Elongated Man.
My man literally put the bum in bum ass, man, because he got shot in the ass, and he was actually a bum. So I was just like, my man was by definition a bum ass.
I read somewhere that this guy was in a previous episode, like in season 1 or something like that. That this character.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That apparently it was the same thing. He came in, tried to mug, I guess maybe the Flash. And the Flash, spanked him up real quick.
Yeah.
But this guy just number 1 bum ass. Failed attempt.
Dude, I didn't even know about that, man. But I mean, he got, like I said, he was a bum and he got shot in the ass. I mean, by definition. But I'm a little disappointed in you, DeepBoyce. I gotta say. Because you being a little biased just because you like Harrison the Gray, and I'm looking down right now because I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed of you, DeepBoyce.
Okay? That was a great cameo. Harrison the Gray.
No. In loving Wells the Gray, you looked over the biggest bum ass of this episode, and that is the whole damn Council of Wells, including the cameo from Wells the Gray. That segment was awful, bro. Awful.
It was. The segment was bad, but Wells the Gray though.
Bro, you had Harrison Wolfgang Wells from Earth 12 looking like Andy Warhol.
I don't know what that was about.
Bro, I had to write down these bum ass names. You had H. Lothario Wells from Earth 47, all right, looking like Matthew McConaughey on his worst day, talking about intellect is the greatest aphrodisiac. I'm like, there's no intellect in this segment because whoever thought this out wasn't thinking straight, didn't use their brain power. Then you had freaking Harrison Wells 2.0 from Earth 22 with his whack ass Slade Wilson accent, man. I was like, come on, man. This man is eating rats and he ate Cisco. He's a cannibal. My man ate Cisco on his earth. Get them all out.
I didn't appreciate that because I think this is a riff off or riff on is the Council of Reeds, which is like a Marvel Comics concept. It's like basically all of the Reed Richards out there because they're real smart. They came together from all different multiverses, and then obviously I think Rick and Morty kind of ripped that off too. So maybe they're ripping off a ripoff, but it shows. It didn't work out, and it was one of the worst segments of that show, to be quite honest with you.
DeepBoyce, the only thing they need to rip off was they need to rip that segment off of that episode completely and put the episode back together, man. Like, they hyped that up too. They was like, oh yeah, you're gonna see Wells from other Earths, and the first time it was funny when they were trying to find a new Wells and they were going through some Wellses from different planets. Like, I think that may have been early last season. That was dope. It went on for far too long and appeared one too many times. I was like, when I thought Wells was done with them, I was like, oh great. Then Cisco convinced him to like bring them back. I was like, my man Cisco. I was like, I need you to vibe me right now so you can sense how mad I am at you. Okay, stupid, DeepBoyce, stupid. But anyway, man, we got our power rankings in. We've got our bum asses in. It's time for One's Gotta Go. Which episode of the Arrowverse this week has got to go? Which is, this episode is the lowest of the lowest, the wackest of the wackest. DeepBoyce, talk to me. Who's biting the bullet this week, and which one's your stay? Which one's got to stay? Which one's got to stay?
The ones that's got to go for me this week is the episode of The Flash when Harry met Harry. That's the one that's got to go.
Good choice. What's your reasoning?
What was that?
What's your reasoning?
Oh, well, no. Only Ralph Dibny was good in this episode. The Flash was inconsequential. Black Bison, I think that was the character's name. Whack. Yeah. Super whack. And super just on a surface level, just not creative. She's Native American, and she's like, what is she going to be doing? Oh, these artifacts, I got to bring them back because they stole them from me, and I'm mad because that's what Native Americans do.
I'm gonna put it out there. That's my one's got to go as well. I'm just gonna put it out there so we can both go in right now. But I'm gonna let you finish. Go ahead.
But the whole Council of Wells thing, terrible. I just was not feeling it. It was not. No. It felt. This was through and through a filler episode just to get us to the end, which was kind of disappointing. Where they get to DeVoe's house and my man Professor Charles Xavier DeVoe over here is coming out like, oh. Is everything fine? Is everything going on? What's going on here? Police at my door? I'm good.
What's going on with that, by the way? You think that's a cyborg? I was thinking, I was like, maybe that's a cyborg body of his that he has. Because I'm like, he clearly doesn't look like that.
Yeah, I thought that was him, but they were in disguise. I think what they're gonna start playing at is, well, how can we stop this guy if he hasn't done anything yet? Like it's some Minority Report type of thing. I think that's probably what they're going to go with in the next coming episodes. And, the thing of being smart and everything, that's probably what he's playing at.
All right. I kind of thought that. I thought that might be like a life model decoy or something because he doesn't look like that. I was like, man, he must have like an epic makeup crew there working for him because I was like, he switched up completely, man. His glow up game was on point. But that episode was bad. I just didn't like, Black Bison, I think the character's name was. Yeah. I just didn't like the fact that she's like, yo, she's a teacher. She was a teacher, and she's like, oh, I gotta restore these items back to my culture. But in the process, I'm gonna kill anyone who stands in my way. Like, I'm just like, I understand there's people, unfortunately, there's crazy people in the world who like make leaps of logic like that, seemingly, when you hear like on the news. But I'm like, when you're watching a show, you want a little bit more than that. Than like, hey, I want to restore these things back to my people. But I'm gonna kill you in the most gruesome ways at the same time. I'm like, I don't really get that. And I just felt like it was a missed opportunity. Although they took the opportunity to have Ralph be like, I gave one of the trinkets back to, the tribe that she was from in order to show respect, because she sort of had a point. But I was like, also Ralph Dibny at the same time, you kind of stole that because that belonged to the museum. But I ain't gonna judge. I ain't gonna say nothing. Yeah, it is what it is.
I thought the Black Bison, I thought that villain was terrible. I thought it was extremely one-dimensional. Like,
yeah, it was extremely one-dimensional.
Let's make it missed opportunity. Let's make it real obvious that this character is Native Americans. Like, what do Native Americans do in TVs and movies? Oh my God, my land and my artifacts. I'm worried about them. I gotta fight back and break into the museum and bring them back to my tribe. Like, come on. I'll be honest. I haven't met many Native Americans in my life, but I'm pretty sure they're just normal, well-adjusted people. No. There are other things that you can make these characters think about and talk about, and just. Yeah. It was very, very uncreative for a show that's typically very creative.
Yeah, that's the thing, and as you said, the one redeemable arc in this, I think, was Ralph Dibny's arc. And also, low-key, I like the Thinker interacting with, I guess, I don't know if that's really his wife or his faux wife, but I like when she walked in the room and he said something. And, like, I knew where the conversation was going to go, but, I liked the fact that he's like, all right, let's do this. And then they did the whole argument, and he repeated that line, and she was like, he's just like, I told you that's how this conversation was going to end before you even walked in. I had the permutations, Yeah. So it was pretty cool. And, the slow build to the Thinker, I'm all right with it for now. But Flash, I'm not mad at the light approach Flash has been taking, but I am disappointed that sometimes, they seem to just want to do jokes, and it's, I don't know, it's just not compelling, if that makes sense. Yeah. Like, jokes are one thing, and I feel like Flash has got the humor on point, but they usually balance it well with the somewhat serious plot line. Yeah. You know what I mean? They were a little too Legends-like, this week. It's
too light, and it becomes too sitcom-y.
Yeah. I mean, so my one that's got to stay this week, and I'm mulling it over because I was stuck between two, which is Supergirl and Arrow. I want to say Arrow, but I also want to be different and just shout out Supergirl this week, man. So I'm gonna shout out Supergirl. That's my one that's got to stay. Supergirl. Nice. I feel like they did it up this week. I feel like the homage to Smallville. I felt like the spirit of the episode was really nice. I also like that it sort of laid the foundation for Alex's and Kara's relationship, because you got references previously in the show that they were at odds when they were younger, but you never really saw it, and I think they also they did a good job at showing why Alex would be tight about, this new person coming into her life, and why Kara would be upset, being a survivor, and Clark, seemingly just leaving her be. Like, I'm like, Clark Kent, I feel that you want her to have a childhood, but I'm like, this kid needs you around. I was like, damn, I hope you come around on the weekends or something. At least take her away for a weekend or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, dropping her off at a random family's house and be like, hey, I want you to have a normal life like I did. I'm like, Clark, that's the only life you knew. Like, this girl has never known a life like this, But I felt like they articulated her adjusting very well. And I felt like, although Alex was a little mean in the episode, I think they did a good job showing her growth. And I don't know, I just like the Smallville feel of the episode. It was teen angsty, but it wasn't too teen angsty. You know what I mean? And I thought it was a good balance.
Nice.
So didn't really further the plot too much, which is Supergirl's ongoing problem.
Yeah, that's its MO at this point.
That's its MO, because I don't think there's any season where they've consistently furthered the plot. But good episode nonetheless. Like the Smallville references, and that's it. Dope. Somebody in the chat asked why didn't Clark leave Kara with the Kents? I mean, I don't know. Maybe that was his choice. Maybe the Kents are too old. Maybe he wanted parents that could keep up with, a young teenage kid. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like the Kents did it once. Also, the Kents did it once. You know, it may not be the best thing to have them do it again because I'm sure it was a stressful situation raising a Kryptonian whose laser eyes will just go off whenever. So,
and that's twice the villains for the Kents.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Because these super people, their villains always come after their parents, and you don't want to have the Kents every other week having to deal with another villain.
I mean, you make a joke, but you're kind of right. Like, I'm sure they had mad problems raising Clark Kent, man. Yeah. But what's your one that's got to stay this week, man?
You know what? I agree with you that I'm going to choose something a little different this week because I thought that both Supergirl and Legends stepped up this week. Yeah. And I'm actually, while I did enjoy the Supergirl episode, I think I'm going to have to go with the Legends of Tomorrow episode because I think maybe this was a flash in the pan. This may not happen again. But it seems like this...
Probably won't.
It probably won't, but it seems like these episodes have gradually been getting better and better, and they're just trying to do what works best for them. I just thought that the premise that they have for this episode was super interesting. Helen Hunt, Helen of Troy, back in the 1930s. It was called Helen Hunt, yeah. Yep. Just the unique twist that they would take to the anachronisms, where it's like, how can we take something from one part of history and something else from another part of history and make it work, make it kind of come together. And then having like the two rival studios kind of coming at each other, which is something that, you know, kind of did happened back in the day. In early Hollywood. They would beef. You know, they were like, they had ties to the mob. So stuff would go down. I thought everybody brought it. Obviously, I think the highlight, like we were talking about earlier, were Firestein. Both of them.
Firestein.
Real funny.
I love that name.
Firestein.
I love that name.
Sarah Lance continues to hold it down. I thought Damien Dark, it was great seeing him in the episode.
Yeah.
I think, you know, I'm forgetting the guy's name that plays Damien.
Neil McDonough. McDonough?
Yeah.
McDonough?
Yeah,
I'm pronouncing that right?
He brings it. He never has like a bad episode whenever he's acting.
He's never been bad as Damien Dark.
Yeah.
Never.
It's
always the writing of the overall plot with Damien Dark that always seems to fail.
Yeah.
But he's never been bad as Damien Dark. I've always liked him as Damien Dark. Absolutely.
And I like that, you know, they're kind of still building into this little history. I mean, he has history in Arrow. He had history in season 2 of Legend of Tomorrow. Now he's kind of coming back. He has his daughter there now. You know, I think really one of the only negatives was, I guess, the whole Kuwasa Vixen thing. It wasn't terrible, but when it was going on, I was like, come on, let's go back to the other stuff. That was a little bit more interesting.
Yeah. One thing that sort of confused me was Ray sort of knowing about Kuwasa, but not knowing what she looked like. And I feel like in the Vixen animated series, he definitely saw Kuwasa. So I'm not really sure why he doesn't know what she looks like enough to... Because when the name Kuwasa was said, he was like, oh, wow, Kuwasa, I know that name. I didn't recognize her face. Maybe I'm just wrong about that. Maybe he didn't see her directly in the Vixen animated series. But, I mean, if you're going to make the series connected, like, you got to do your due diligence in order to explain certain things. Could also be a situation where Flashpoint somehow fugatzed it up. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, maybe he just doesn't know about what she looks like, but he knows of her. I don't know. But, I mean, I didn't think the Legends of Tomorrow episode was bad or good. I felt like it was just more of the same. But, you know, two things I did like were Firestein. And the second thing, I loved how Zari, not wanting to change time, I love how she found a way to kind of subvert the system where she's like, all right, according to history, you disappeared at this point. So I'm going to just say the reason you disappeared is because you got left on Themyscira. And we're going to keep this between us.
Which is fine, and shout outs to Zari. I think that character's kind of fitting in to the...
agreed. I mean, now that I think about it, that could actually be some circular history there. You know, if with them doing that, where like maybe it was always intended for them to meet her and for that to happen. But I don't know. I'm just getting crazy now. But that being said, DeepBoyce, any last words before we wrap this episode up? This episode of Arrowverse Weekly One Shot. That's a new name. Remember it. Any last words, DeepBoyce?
I can't wait for that Crisis in Earth X in 2 weeks.
It's gonna be lit. Hopefully it is. Hopefully it is, man. Hopefully it is. But yeah, y'all. That being said, feel free to drop a comment. Let us know what your power rankings are this week. Let us know what your top three Bumasses are this week. And also, let us know what your ones got to go and your ones got to stay for this week, week 6 of the Arrowverse. That being said, please support the Spectacular Spoiler League by hitting that subscribe button and dropping a like on the video to help this get out here. If you're in the chat right now and you're watching live, A like on the video would be greatly appreciated because, listen, that's the only way we're going to get these videos out here and recruit more leaguers to the cause. That being said, me and DeepBoyce, I've said that being said like 15 times. Me and DeepBoyce, we get out of here. But before we do, turn on notifications because I swear, if you don't turn on notifications, I'm going to come after y'all, all right? I'm not playing. We'll see you guys on the next one. Have a good one. Happy Thanksgiving also, because coming up. Peace out.